For what is it to die, but to stand naked in the wind and to melt into the sun? And what is it to cease breathing, but to free the breath from its restless tides, that it may rise and expand and seek God unencumbered? Only when you drink from the river of silence shall you indeed sing. And when you have reached the mountaintop, then you shall begin to climb. And when the earth shall claim your limbs, then shall you truly dance.
So my name's Doug Schulman, and on behalf of Gordon's family, I have the honor of opening this celebration of Gordon's life. Today, a number of people have asked to read. We're going to celebrate Gordon. Afterwards, there's going to be a gathering, so people have time and space to tell stories about Gordon and be together. So I first heard the name Gordon Goodell in 1979. I was 12 years old, living in Dayton, Ohio. The three prettiest, coolest girls at my junior high school were whispering and giggling. And this is what I heard. He's really cute. His name is Gordon Goodell. Gordon and I met that week, and while it did not occur to me that he was as cute as they thought, we started a friendship that lasted almost 40 years. Gordon was a free spirit who paved his own path in this world. He was one of the most nuanced, textured souls that I've ever met. He was a man of principle, a Renaissance man, an adventurer, an intellectual, an optimist, and a romantic. Here are things and people that I know Gordon loved. He loved his boys, Milo and Max. He loved his parents, Ann Shirley and Rob. He always called you the oldies. Even in junior high, remember that, 2 weeks ago, he said I was just hanging with the oldies. He loved his brother, Christian. He loved a huge number of important people in his life, and a lot of you are sitting here today. I'm going to name a few, and forgive me, because I don't know them all, and I'm sure I'm missing people. But he loved Anne, Cassie, Jade, and Mary. He loved Ben and Deirdre. He loved his friends and community in the Teton Valley. He loved his ski patrol brothers, Scott, Joe, Marty, Brian, and Bob. He loved our old gang from college, the Tank. Jed, Park, Kevin, and Tom are here today. He loved the mountains and to ski powder, a long, textured conversation, the ocean. He loved good food, both cooking it and eating it, a good book, a well-engineered structure, an adventure. Gordon loved to be cool. I mean, he was Mr. Cool, right? But most of all, he loved you, Milo. As I thought about my decades of friendship with Gordon, a few moments come to mind. First, Gordon possessed just tremendous courage. He flung himself out into the world repeatedly, whether moving to a new school in 11th grade, going by himself to study in France, moving to Haiti to help rebuild a country, or battling cancer with dignity and grace. I remember being excited, but also very scared in 1985 when I was going to go to college, because I, unlike Gordon, was not always so courageous, flinging myself out into the world. That summer, Gordon had already moved to Vancouver, and we had stayed in touch. And he called me and he said, dude, you won't believe it. We're both going to Williams. And then he said, maybe we should be roommates. And at that moment, I remember my fear turned into just absolute joy. So this is, Gordon, the man of courage, even early in my life, where he took my moment of anxiety and turned it to something courageous. I also remember a time being on the phone with him a month after Max was born. And I asked him, what's it like being a dad? I wasn't a father yet. And he said, it's incredibly cool, fun, and interesting. And then I remember this. He said, even though little Max is just a baby, he's a little human with fingers, toes, eyes, ears. Douglas, I basically spend my day marveling at him, taking long walks, cooking, wiping his butt. Dude, I'm Mr. Mom. It's super cool. Over the past year, I spoke with Gordon regularly. During our last conversation 2.5 weeks ago, we got to talking about kids and when they were ready to go out into the world on their own. I told him about my son, Ben, who wants to ride the New York City subway by himself. We just moved to New York a year ago. And while he's close to being old enough to do this, I told Gordon, there's still some situations that I've encountered on the subway that I'm just not sure Ben is ready to navigate. So there's a long pause. Gordon was not afraid of silence. And he said, Douglas, I think Milo is prepared. I think Milo is prepared to go out on his own. So I never really wanted to be here standing, talking about the oldest person, my oldest, closest friends. We're all celebrating Gordon's life in our own way. In my faith, the way that people live on is through their memories and through the stories we tell. So Gordon, my promise to you is that we're going to continue to tell your story. 2 days before Gordon died, I sent him a text to ask how he was doing, and he wrote back, quote, we're blowing in a whopper of a thunderstorm for this evening's entertainment. Front row Teton seats for this. Should be good, Douglas. That was Gordon. While he suffered in his final months, he enjoyed the show right up to his very last day.
Thank you, Doug. There is sweet music here that softer falls than petals from blown roses on the grass, or night dews on still waters, between walls of shadowy granite in the gleaming pass. Music that gentlier on the spirit lies than tired eyelids upon tired eyes. Music that brings sweet sleep down from the blissful skies. Here are cool mosses deep, and through the moss the ivies creep. And in the stream that long-leaved flowers weep, and from the craggy ledge the poppy hangs in sleep.
I am the resurrection and the life, saith the Lord. He that believeth in me, though he were dead, yet shall he live. And whoever so liveth and believeth in me shall never die. For none of us liveth to himself, and no man dieth to himself. For if we live unto the Lord, and if we die unto the Lord. Whether we live, therefore, or die, we are the Lord's. Blessed are the dead who die in the Lord. Even so saith the Spirit, for they rest from their labors. The Lord be with you.
And also with you.
Let us pray. O God, whose mercies cannot be numbered, accept our prayers on behalf of thy servant Gordon, and grant him an entrance into the land of light and joy in the fellowship of thy saints. Amen.
We gathered together to celebrate the life of a man who lived larger than many of us were brave enough to envision, who swept notions of convention and routine and popular belief gently aside to make way for greater responsibilities, truer living, and passionate dedication to what was real. It is his life that we celebrate today, his life in the deep way that he connected and bonded to our own lives, how he strengthened our notions of self and knew us each for our unique qualities and our original minds. We're here to celebrate today how he enraptured us with his friendship, coaxed us from complacency into inspiration, and let us brush up against his excellence, as was his. The man I want to talk about today was immensely beautiful, fervently strong and boundless with capacity and ideas, and completely unruled. Both the man and the world he lived in were sparked with his enticing persistence that listened and lived from a raw and true place, absolutely unapologetically. This week, I have been so blessed to hear countless stories from his past that prove these statements so. From childhood and college and ski patrolling and as a papa, from Haiti and his time with Bill Change and while sailing, through conversations and in deep relations. But it isn't my place to speak of these examples from his past, as much as I knew intimately the way that Gordon lived his last few months. I was told it the other day that it's taboo to speak of one's death at a memorial gathering, but Gordon would mock such established norms and persist on this undeniable truth. So please let me claim just a moment of this life celebration so that we can honor what can only be called a beautiful end. I've heard we die in much the same fashion as how we have lived, and I really witnessed this with Gordon. Gordon refused death with beautiful and feisty defiance. To some, Gordon's way of handling his cancer might have looked like denial, but denial requires declaration of something untrue, and Gordon always knew what was true. But he refused it, willingly. Instead, Gordon fought his cancer with what is sheer determination, devotion, and abundant hope, and a desire for continued conversation. He pushed on for Milo and for those of us that he cherished. In Gordon's blog post, Gordon wrote, "I have been accused by many people of all sorts of things. False hope. The oncologists spend a lot of time steering clear of this, but I assure you there is no such thing. Dangerous denial, delusion. But you must believe you can win over cancer before you will be able to. Surround yourself," he said, "instead with the things that bring you joy and strength." This concept of winning over cancer may seem very ironic and distressing to read right now. But I promise you, Gordon won over his cancer, or at least he never let his cancer win over him. He was and still is a cancer survivor. How? Because Gordon did not let the malaise of his disease shake his sensation of magic that ruled this earth. He did not allow cancer to bring his spirit into poverty or provide fodder for weakness. He never lacked optimism. He kept each of you in his mind's eye. He never quit being Papa. Gordon's entire last months were filled with small acts of rebellion against cancer, and I want to share a few of these with you. His first night out of the 2-week hospital stay, Gordon took me out to eat. Nothing was open but this greasy spoon across the way from the hotel in Seattle. He ordered a milkshake called the Drunken Elvis. It was 24 ounces of vanilla ice cream, graham crackers, peanut butter, bananas, a shot of Malibu banana, absolute vanilla, and some Baileys. Aside that, he ordered some jalapeno poppers. He couldn't eat this. Mind you, he didn't order it to eat. He ordered it because it was the right way to fight back. Because that was living. Beautiful rebellion. Then he proceeded to Vancouver to take a 2-day course to touch up his knowledge on structural engineering. After that, he loaded the surfboards onto the car and surprised his son with a spring break vacation on the Olympic Peninsula. In the past few months of Gordon's life, he kept at it. He read a handful of books. He planned writing his first novel. He applied for many dream jobs. He began working his own business together. He finished a homemade sailboat with Milo. He drove across country to be with his mother on Mother's Day. He boated through the San Juan Islands. He went on a father-son yurt trip. He climbed beards. He enjoyed the backcountry. He wrote extensively to all his dear friends. He spent ample time with his parents in Canada. He interpreted holy texts. He kept up with the news. He pushed through his last week to spend time with his brother and his wonderful Michael. He connected with dear friends. He spent endless hours with his son. He fell in love. He shared his truths and he spoke his mind. He was in sole charge of his decisions, his medical care, and how he spent each day. He was in complete control each step of the way. But Gordon's greatest act of defiance against cancer is that he never, ever stopped being grateful. He woke each morning with a smile on his face and he would whisper in my ear, "The Tetons are still there. Today is perfect." And he would set out, coffee in hand, to enjoy each moment and each conversation the day had to offer. He would write to his friends how great he was doing and how much he loved life. This warrior knew gratitude was the main weapon against his illness. In the book, The Curve of Time, we read together a parable from the Pacific Northwest. How this missionary priest asked the native people for guidance to find a safe passage in his canoe through this dangerous strait. The native people led this missionary to safety through the channel, and when the missionary was back on the land, he began to kiss the ground and fall to his knees to pray. And the natives asked what he was doing. And when he told them he was thanking God, they responded that they did it really differently. "We woke this morning to give our thanks. We give our gratitude first." Gordon knew. Gratitude first. Yes, please. Gordon is a cancer survivor in the same way he would like us to survive each of our days. To close, I would like to use Gordon's own words. You only have 2 basic choices for today. You can be a victim or you can be grateful. The benefits of gratitude are numerous. Being truly thankful for what you have, even if it seems like very little, is the basis of a positive outlook on your day. If this seems hard, make a ritual of it. Write down 3 things you are grateful for when you get up in the morning, and then continue with your day. Like everything, it gets easier with practice. Gratitude leads to a host of things that you need: hope, purpose, and a will to live. Show your gratitude. Focus on it. Don't be embarrassed by it. Give thanks for the things you have and have done and love in this world. Thank your friends, your colleagues, your mentors and teachers, your family, your God, and yourself. Victims sink at the hand of their oppressors, real or imaginary. Gratitude moves us upward. You are a cancer survivor. Be grateful and celebrate.
Thank you, Jade. Here's my offering, Gordon. A few words to sprinkle to the winds. Following your lead, I will not acknowledge that there has been a death. This is a controversial position to take at a funeral, I realize. And it is true that much of the evidence supports an alternate interpretation. But one of the things that drew us together was a passionate and deep skepticism of all that is conventional, convenient, and ordinary. Over the past 25 years, we have skied powder rates through straw bale houses, childhood diseases, unspeakable loss, improbable career changes, global NGO work, and the islands of the Puget Sound. Your turns were true and beautiful, Gordon. So let me double down on this one, Gordo. The extraordinary amount of compassion you put into living has had an alchemical effect on your spirit. Death is a garment that simply does not fit over a life as large as yours. There are only two things that I have to know that you are hearing today, though, Gordon. I want you to know that we will always, always hold beautiful, smiling Max in our hearts. And we will always, always be there for Milo. Let these two concerns go into the wind, Gordon. See you on the slopes and in the stars, my friend.
Little known fact about Gordon was that he spoke French beautifully, cherished it as a language. I'm not going to do this in French today for you now. All men have stars, but they're not the same things for different people. For some, who are travelers, the stars are guides. For others, they're no more than little lights in the sky. For others who are scholars, they're problems. But all these stars are silent. You and you alone will have stars, as no one else has them. In one of the stars, I shall be living. In one of them, I shall be laughing. And so it will be as if all the stars will be laughing when you look in the sky at night. You and only you will have stars that can laugh. And when your sorrow is comforted, for time soothes all sorrows, you will be content that you've known me. You will always be my friend. You will want to laugh with me. And you will sometimes open your window, just so, for that pleasure. It will be as if, in place of the stars, I had given you a great number of little bells that knew how to laugh. So, a few of us have the good fortune to have known this kind of cool, gangly guy who walked into my grade 11 high school class one fine day. And I'd like to read a letter from a mutual friend of ours from Vancouver, Andre Durbach. I first encountered Gordon as a 16-year-old high school student. He'd moved to Vancouver from some exotic place called America that I knew little or nothing about. I would qualify that with Ohio. I took an instant dislike to him. Gordon inserted himself seamlessly into my world, a world where I had struggled for acceptance and recognition, and did it with a sort of enviable ease that I resented. Gordon was taller, smarter, more athletic, and better looking. We talked about that earlier. And carried himself with a particular kind of self-assurance that my insecure, posturing, envious 16-year-old self could scarcely comprehend. Very quickly, however, my dislike turned to grudging acceptance, which turned to grudging admiration, then just plain admiration, and then into a lifelong friendship for which I feel both grateful and privileged. My friendship with Gordon allowed me to peek over the fence into his world. Over the years, he introduced me to people, an astonishing group of people, diverse, unique people, whom he seemed to befriend easily and at will. It took me a little while to figure it out, but to be allowed access into Gordon's world and to be counted among his friends was a special thing for all of us. Unlike many of us who collect people along the road of life, school friends, teammates, university friends, traveling companions to be categorized and filed away somewhere for safekeeping, Gordon never did this. Collections are for stamps or coins, but not for people. He always made me feel important and valued, and saw me as an individual rather than as part of a group. As simple as that sounds, it's also an uncommon quality that few of us possess. All of Gordon's friends, every one of us, were cherished by him and special to him, and that's a group I'm proud to be part of. In a world where so many people scurry through life thoughtlessly with only their own strategy of survive until I die, Gordon's was a different kind of life, a deep thinker, unafraid of life's complexities and possessing an unshakable self-belief. Gordon was never without a strategy. When he told me he had cancer, he also laid out his plan for beating it, as if he were discussing gravity or some other axiomatic certainty. Such was the strength of his conviction that I never once doubted, even in the face of all the evidence to the contrary, that he would win this battle. Sir Alex Ferguson, who managed Manchester United for 27 years, was once asked about the club's uncanny and remarkable record of scoring goals and securing victory deep into injury time. His reply? Manchester United never lose. We just occasionally run out of time. And so it was with Gordon. En route to victory, he simply ran out of time. So here's to you, Gordon, to a life well lived and a game well played. Thank you.
So we're going to do a group reading. Everybody's got their program. It's on the second to last page, and it's Ecclesiastes, a time for everything. I'll start, but we all need to read. There is a time for everything, and a season for every activity under the heavens. A time to be born, and a time to die. A time to plant, and a time to uproot. A time to kill, and a time to heal. A time to tear down, and a time to build up. A time to weep, and a time to laugh. A time to mourn, and a time to dance. A time to scatter stones, and a time to gather them. A time to embrace, and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to search, and a time to give up. A time to keep, and a time to throw away. A time to tear, and a time to mend. A time to be silent, and a time to speak. A time to love, and a time to hate. A time for war, and a time for peace. What do workers gain from their toil? I have seen the burden God has laid on the human race. He has made everything beautiful which was found. He has also set eternity in the human heart. Yet no one can fathom what God has done from beginning to end. I know that there is nothing better for people than to be happy and to do good while they live. That each of them may eat, drink, and find satisfaction in all their toil. This is the gift of God. I know that everything God does will endure forever. Nothing can be added to it, nothing taken from it.
Keep me from all wrong. I'll be satisfied as long as I walk. Let me walk close to thee. Just a closer walk with thee. is my plea. Daily walking close to thee. Let it be, dear Lord, let it be. Now my earthly life is o'er. Time for me is no more. Guide me gently, safely o'er to thy kingdom shore, to the shore. Just a closer walk with me. Granted, Jesus is my plea. Daily walking close to thee. Let it be, dear Lord, let it be. Join in. Just a closer walk with thee. Granted, Jesus is my plea. Daily walking close to thee. Let it be, dear Lord, let it be.
We're going to all observe a moment of silence.
My son, do not forget my teaching, but keep my commands in your heart. For they will prolong your life many years, bring you peace and prosperity. But love and faithfulness never leave you. Bind them around your neck. Write them on the tablet of your heart. Then you will win favor and a good name in the sight of God and man.
Blessed are those who find wisdom, those who gain understanding, for it is more profitable than silver and yields better returns than gold. It is more precious than rubies. Nothing you desire can compare with it. Its ways are pleasant ways, and all its paths are peace. It is a tree of life to those who take hold of it. Those who hold it fast will be blessed. The fear of death follows from the fear of life. A man who lives fully is prepared to die at any time.
So we do not lose heart. 2 Corinthians. Even though our outer nature is wasting away, our inner nature is being renewed day by day. For this slight, momentary affliction is preparing us for an eternal weight of glory beyond all measure, because we look not at what can be seen, but what cannot be seen. For what can be seen is temporary, but what cannot be seen is eternal. For we know that if the earthly tent we live in is destroyed. We have a building from God, a house not made with hands, eternal in the heavens. The word of the Lord. Thanks be to God.
The Lord is my shepherd, I lack nothing. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. Even though I walk through the valley of shadow of death, seas, he refreshes my soul. He guides me along the right path for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows. Surely your goodness and love will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever.
All these great people here. Thanks for being here. Somebody had to speak to the family, and I think I would vote at least likely to get hysterical, cry, and pass out. And I don't know if that's the case, but I don't make the promises. But I do just play the card, because as much love as there is in this crowd and as many great friends, I'm the only one who can claim that. And I was asked by Gordon's friend Park last night how close we were as brothers, knowing that lots of families have different sibling relationships. And the answer is that I couldn't imagine being closer to my brother than we were. We didn't talk every day, we didn't talk every week. Sometimes we didn't even talk every month, but whenever we did talk, it was real. And I think that everyone here had that experience with Gordon. One of the most real people I've ever known. And I'll miss him for that. I'll miss those conversations for sure. The reason there are papers blowing around here is not because I've prepared anything. But, I wanted to share with you some words from the family. As my dad put it, I already said it, and I don't have anything else to say. Each of my parents wrote a beautiful letter to Gordon, which Jade and my husband Michael and I sat and read to him on the last day. And I'd like to share them with you because I don't know, many of you know that I've been here for a couple weeks. Fortunately, sort of just in time to get the rest of the best of Gordon. He'd already given everything to Milo. They had spent months together here, and he was back in the hospital and practically in a coma, and then just decided, I'm not quite done yet. And so we got the call. We were at a lake house in Michigan and came here the next morning, and we got the most magical week here with Gordon of my life. This one came first. This one was from my mom. My dearest Gordon, I suspect that we may not greet each other. I should probably explain that my parents were in France with my son and Milo. Fletcher and Milo at the same age, they're both 12. And Gordon was insistent that they finish that trip with the kids no matter what. And when my parents asked my opinion of that, I said, well, he's in charge, but I'll come if anything goes down. I'll be there. So you guys should just stay in France. So they just go back. I suspect that we may not greet each other again except spiritually. We have always had that spiritual connection and will not stop now. You and your brother have been amazing sons. We thank you both for that joy. Christian may be reading this to you, but I hope you are still able to do that yourself. Either way, I want to say again what an incredible son you have been and how special it has been to have time with you over the last months. Knowing you as an adult is a joy we had not expected in this way. Rob is arranging flights so that we can return with Milo, but please do not feel you must hang on for us. Jade has indicated that you would rather pass before Milo returns, and that you have stopped the TPN. We support your choice, whatever it may be. Do what is comfortable for you and find peace. That is my greatest wish for you now. You have fought an incredible fight to be with your son as long as possible. He is an amazing young man and well on his way. He will always carry your love and lessons with him. I am thankful that your brother, Michael, and Jade are there now, and that we all had the honor of being by your side during these last months. We did not give up. We are not giving up now, because we have traveled this journey with you this far, and our love helps us to go on, so that this journey is not over, but to a new and more comfortable place for you. Travel well, my son. With love forever, Mom. Pretty amazing. And then came the next letter, for those who can take it. I certainly had trouble myself. Dear Gordon, I thought that you would want to know that Milo and Fletcher had another great day today. We're in Blois. My French is not as good as some here. And they visited the over-the-top chateau at Chambord. The boys think it would be fun to live in a place like that. Then we ate dinner in a favorite restaurant where the boys both had duck and loved it. We're all enjoying the chance to explore France together, and thank you for your part in making it happen. Of course, the grandkids are special to us, but you are too. Anne Shirley and I have many happy memories of times with you, both as a youngster and more recently. Joking with you and discussing the events of the day with you are among my most precious memories. You always bring your informed and thoughtful point of view to bear with just the right amount of humor. When you're not with us, I miss those times. You know that we admire your many talents and are so proud of the work you did at Build Change to improve the lives of some of the world's most disadvantaged people. I hope you feel a sense of accomplishment for that and the other successes you've achieved. You know also that we will continue to treasure Milo and stand ready to help him in any way we can. I know that this is an awful time for you, and my heart goes out to you. Please know that you are loved, and that you have been loved without interruption for 49 years. And now, I wish you peace. With great love, Rob, your dad and your biggest fan. We cried then. Maybe I can keep from crying now. I don't know. This was pretty touching. You know, I think it's already been mentioned. It's worth saying again what a great teacher Gordon was. For Max, for Milo, for all of us, really, and as a big brother, he coached me in many ways throughout our lives. I feel fortunate that in the last week I had with him, we could reverse those roles a little bit. Not that they had never been reversed in our lives, but it was an opportunity. I spend my life studying and teaching principles of consciousness, and I came here and found my brother a little bit conflicted, doing one thing and saying another, for believing in himself as we all did, but also attempting to prepare to take a giant leap of faith. So I had the honor of coaching my big brother in what I think was a very important time for both of us. We talked about the principles of conscious living and how one manifests the reality that you want, and how conscious creation occurs. And for him, it came down to wiping the slate clean so that he could think about next steps and have faith. And for me, it comes down to three things, and this is what I told him: gratitude, forgiveness, and love. Practice all three universally and unconditionally, and you're consciously creating your own reality. Well, as it's been clearly stated already, Gordon was good at gratitude. He didn't always have the easiest roles, and he met them all with unconditional thanks and gratitude for what he had, and he lived twice as much as most people who lived twice as old as he did. So that wasn't the issue, if there was one. He certainly didn't have any trouble with love. We all loved him. He loved all of us. And he was an example of how to love, in my view. Turns out, with his own admission, his trouble in his last week had been, according to him, his trouble all his life, with the third point, which is forgiveness. So we talked about that over numerous nights, sitting on the porch looking at the beauty of these mountains and reconnecting in the most beautiful ways. And I told him, look, it's pretty simple. And I want to share this with you because I think it made a big difference for him and might make a big difference for people here. Forgiveness is a pretty simple game, actually. You handle it the same way as gratitude and love, universally and unconditionally. So you forgive everyone, everything, every circumstance, and you forgive yourself. And this isn't the landmark forum. You don't have to go writing letters off to everyone that you want to forgive, or ask forgiveness of others, or try to, no. It's so much simpler. It's we're energy beings renting this body for a time, and it's so much simpler than that. As energy beings, as he was about to learn when he led himself through the leap of faith, we only have to forgive each other energetically, unconditionally, universally, everyone, everything, especially ourselves. I believe in the end, Gordon forgave everyone and everything, including himself. So, if anyone here has anything to forgive or to ask forgiveness for, all you have to do is accept his offer. He's already made it to everyone here. And your offer will be accepted. It's done. As Doug correctly pointed out, we're all working through this differently, and we all have a different set of beliefs. And I'm not here to impose mine on you, but here's mine. The universe occurs to me as an infinite fractal of primordial energy. We call it source, or spirit, or God. We're all a part of it. Gordon is, was, always will be a part of it. And so he'll always be a part of us.
Thanks everybody for being here. And we're going to adjourn for that.
Thank you, Dad.
Thanks.